What's going on? It's Big Ron DeVoe.
What's up? I'm Shamari, and we're the DeVoes.
Yes.
And you're watching
In This Room on MadameNoire.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
We met March 10th, 2001.
Yes.
I remember the day.
Los Angeles, California.
The Janet Jackson Icon Awards after party.
She fell in love with me from first sight.
Actually,
I don't know if that's true or not.
Actually, he tried to talk to me first. He saw me in the
did.
club, and he was with Bobby Brown, and I just so happened to walk by, and he grabbed my hand, I just kept walking until the hand just disconnected from his, like, whatever.
No, but before the hand disconnected, you looked back and gave me a nice little smile.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Anyway, after the party was over, outside, that was back in the day when we had the two ways. I don't know if you remember the two ways, but anyway, he came up to me and he was like, can I take you to lunch tomorrow or something? I was like, yeah. So we beamed each other our contacts from the
right.
two-way, and the next day we went on a nice little hot date.
Yeah, and the rest is history. 17 years later, almost 18
Almost
years.
18 years later. I knew that first night, like the next morning I woke up like, will I see you again? Yes, like I knew he was the one, and like he was just such a gentleman, and I just loved to just look at him, like talk, like his accent, his Boston accent, just everything about him just turned me on.
Yeah. And for me, it took a while, honestly. I mean, Shamari
he was still ready to dip in the ocean
start.
a little bit.
Yeah, Shamari was amazing from the start, but I was kicking and screaming for probably the first 2.5, 3 years of our relationship. But we were together just about all the time. But the commitment thing, that word is really strong for me. I'm in the industry, and just as a man, ultimately, guys will do and say anything to get in a woman's panties, and for me, telling somebody you love them or what have you, that just wasn't my cup of tea. So I'm like, if you want to hang out with me and play a little bit of house, without me jumping in.
It was more than house. We were like boyfriend, girlfriend, honey.
Yeah, before
I knew I was special.
I commit, then cool, right? But ultimately, she gave me an ultimatum, about 3 years into our relationship, and I had to really just process that and look at our history and our past and just see that she was there for me ultimately. And I was like, I gotta reward that. So,
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah. You have to have certain things in place to have success in marriage. And because we didn't have those things in place, we were separate and almost on the brink of divorce. But active listening, for me, is one of the things we learned through going through counseling. We have marriage coaches, Martez and Wadrina Layton, that they are amazing. And one of the things that sticks out to me is the active listening. If we would have had that as a foundation in our relationship, initially, I don't think we would have went through a lot of the stuff that we did go through ultimately about 7 years into our relationship. So being able to look at my wife and listen to her and repeat what it is that she said to me allows me to take it in and not just sit there with a blank face waiting to fire back. So I think having those foundational things for communication is definitely important.
I think we're transparent about our challenges because we want to be able to inspire and encourage other couples that are going through challenges in their relationship to keep going and stay committed and fight. It takes a whole lot of work, but we call ourselves marriage ambassadors, and we are representatives. We represent, promote, and boost the idea of fighting for your marriage.
Yeah.
And we want people to be able to relate to us. Some people don't like the transparency, but the people that really have been in love and are going through challenges, they really appreciate the transparency that we offer because they can relate to it, and they can become enlightened by it, and it's just a good thing to be able to be around like-minded couples and hear things and stories about people, because it really helps you get through certain tough times in your relationship.
Right.
The open relationship happened 7 years ago. Our marriage has been restored for the past 4 years. And, every now and then things happen. I was in a state of brokenness. And while I was in that state, I was making a whole lot of self-centered choices rather than going to my husband and making decisions with him as one.
Right.
But then eventually I had to come back to my faith and my principles and realize that the openness had to stop and how much I really love my husband. You said the bicuriousness. I really at that time, I didn't know who I was. I was unsure of my husband's love for me. I was unsure of what was going on in our marriage. So that pretty much made me be unsure of myself. And that's the way that I just dealt with the pain. And I was just in an emotional, cloudy space. But once my love for you and came back into focus and I realized how strong our bond was, then I was able to get out of that emotional, foggy space.
Yeah.
Yes, just us. Like, never again will I ever want to do or try an open relationship. I only want my husband till death do us part. Like, we have gone through so much.
Yeah.
We are in the process of writing a book because we got so much more tea to spill, honey. You think that's a lot.
Right. The grass is not really greener on the other side. You feel like you're in a relationship with a person for a number of years. And I remember Eddie Murphy said it on one of his comedy specials. You feel like, man, same old damn saltine crackers. Like, maybe I should try some Ritz or some Wheat Thins or something like that. But ultimately, the best plan of attack is to figure out how to maybe introduce some things to that saltine cracker, like maybe put some tuna fish on that joint or some peanut butter on it. So don't jump in another category or outside the box, but try and figure out how to keep the spice within your relationship. And I think we weren't talking to each other's love languages at that time. And as Shamari said, she was going through some things. She had just lost one of her best friends, Natina Reed.
Yeah.
So much was going on in our life at the time. And when that was introduced for me as a man, I'm feeling like, oh, well, really? We're gonna be able to go out and taste some other flavors or what have you.
Ew,
and you feel like, well, maybe that's a good thing. But then you start doing it and jealousy and envy and all of these different things begin to come in to your circle, and you wake up one day and you're sitting down at the table trying to figure out how you're gonna split everything up in a divorce. So, God is good because we were able to see God, first of all, in it. We began to pray together, and as a black man, I just felt like I don't need anybody to tell me what it is that is gonna fix my relationship. And once I was open to sitting down with a counselor and marriage coach or what have you, I think that was the thing that helped me come back to Shamari. Parents, that is the ultimate blessing.
That is the blessing because had we not come back together and reaffirm our love for each other and recommit to each other, God would have never blessed us with 2 beautiful boys.
Yes.
Like, because we were trying to have kids for a very long time. And then we had to go through everything that we went through, and he had to see that we were strong enough and our love was strong enough in order for us to bear some children to bring into this world. And that is the ultimate blessing. And being a parent, oh God, I love it. My worry is on 10 now though, because I have 2 little babies and I'm kind of a germaphobe and I'm worried about them getting sick and all types of stuff, but ultimately it is it's an amazing thing, and we wanted to make sure that before he got too old that we went ahead and had
hold on, you're not so far back in me.
Right, but we wanted to make sure before he turned, by the time he turned 50, that we had babies too at the same time.
How about that too, for a 50th birthday present? That's just the most amazing thing.
Man, it hasn't affected
Not at all.
my marriage at all. It really, we've gone through so much. Like, the Real Housewives of Atlanta can never affect anything and do anything to our marriage.